Hi, I'm Olivia,
Hi, I'm Maggie.
and this is Girls Talk Film. This is a podcast about movies, and every week we take 3 films that share a theme, a tone, a type of character, and we basically kind of break them down, compare and contrast, and talk about how the theme is represented in all of the films. And this week, our theme is plastic surgery. Very topical.
Very topical.
We're so just on the mark, aren't we?
I know. I think we're just so good at just like being relevant and
with the
picking great
times.
movies. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why everyone should subscribe to us and
Yeah.
watch our videos and listen to our podcast.
No, so true. You guys should like and subscribe if you haven't already. So our films this week are Eyes Without a Face, The Skin I Live In, and The Substance. I'm very excited. We love The Substance if you couldn't
if you
tell.
can't tell, these are 2 separate Halloween costumes. We didn't do this together. Olivia went as Sue last year and I went as Elizabeth Sparkle this year. So we just figured we'd recycle our costumes.
Yeah, I've unfortunately lost a few key elements of my costume, but figured the hopefully the ponytail will save me.
I think
here.
the earrings really help. Yeah. When I wore this costume out like this past October, not one person knew who I was. And I had like the box. I thought I was like really obvious. And I had so many people come up to me and they're like, "Are you like Carmen Sandiego?" I was like, never mind.
When I was Sue 2 years ago, and it was like right after the movie came out, and I went to like a gay Halloween party.
Oh
and,
gosh. You're probably
it was
the
a
most
hit.
popular. Yeah.
No, it was an absolute. There was not like I wasn't even the only Sue at the party.
Yeah.
So yeah, very different experience.
I was the only Elizabeth this year. I saw no other one. But yeah, I think this is a really great lineup. A really interesting topic, especially how it's portrayed through film. I was trying to think back and I was like, I don't think there's any, at least any that I can think of. If people know, please like leave it in the comments. But there's no film I could think of that like has really a like pro plastic surgery. They're all very much cautionary tales.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, all 3 of our films are in some form or another horror films.
Oh yeah, thrillers at the
Yeah.
very least.
Interesting too, because when I was trying to think of a non-horror thriller film that had to do with plastic surgery, I had a pretty hard time.
I was struggling, yeah.
Yeah,
Unless
I mean,
it's like a true story type of film,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
maybe. I feel like the topic really is so rife for horror. It really lends itself to horror. I mean, the element of self-mutilation that goes into plastic surgery, the questions about, you know, if you change your physical self, how does that change you in a deeper sense? I am curious before we get into it. Do you feel like your physical self is really tied to who you are in a deeper way? Because I feel like all 3 of our films really examine that in some sense.
It's so fun. Okay, well, I'm going to like shed my costume a little bit because I can barely see you in these sunglasses. So just give me a sec. Okay, much better. That's actually a really interesting question. I was talking about this with a friend of mine, I think after we saw The Substance, or very recent in that time, not too long ago. And we were talking about like how plastic surgery is just such a quick fix for people nowadays.
Yeah.
And how it's really sad to see like natural beauty fading away and how people just don't embrace their natural features anymore, you know, whether conventionally attractive or conventionally more unattractive. Like, I think that's a big part of who you are. You know, there's a lot of things that I don't like about myself for sure, but I couldn't really imagine myself without them.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of things that I used to hate and now I really, really love them because they're what make me me.
Yeah.
Like my beauty mark right here, I used to hate it.
I love it. I love your beauty mark.
Thank you. But I used to be like, oh, it's so ugly. I want to get removed. I want to get it taken off. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine my face without it.
Yeah.
Like it's just
such
a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you know, if there's something that you really, really struggle with, something that's, you know, completely destroying your self-esteem, I personally am under the opinion that like there's nothing wrong with like changing yourself for the better. Not for the better in terms of like making yourself more attractive in society's eyes, but like something that's going to help your confidence. However, I'm under a strong opinion that one, you have to be of a certain age.
Yeah.
Like you have to be, your brain has to be fully grown. You have to be fully developed. You have to really be at the proper state of mind to make this decision. And it shouldn't be so available. And I also think, you know, if everyone got something that they didn't like, I mean, it's kind of like there's a moral line. Like, where do we finish that?
I agree. And I think there's something to be said too about like, you can always find a flaw.
Exactly.
So, okay, you don't like your nose, you get your nose done, but now your eyelids are droopy. So now it's like, okay, well, let's fix that. And then like I could get, like my cheekbones are a little low. Let me get something to lift those. And it can kind of, I can see how it can become addicting.
Totally addicting.
If you have the money and the time to do it, I can completely understand. Like it's very seductive to think that you can create the appearance that you want to have.
It's also so boring though. Like everybody just looks the same nowadays.
Oh, I agree. I know.
Like it's so weird to see people, like especially people who, you know, work as influencers or kind of more in the public eye. And you're like, you look just like her who looks just like this person. And this guy looks like this guy and this guy now. Like, and especially, I mean, like you said, it's such a great, plastic surgery is such a great topic for horror movies because it's real life body horror.
Yeah.
Like it's so realistic. I mean, realistic. It's what happens in our everyday society. And now that it's so available and so easily overdone, I think like, again, like, you know, we love the substance because it's so relevant.
Yeah.
And it touches on a topic that like we've discussed so many times.
100%. And yeah, no, we'll talk about it more at length when we get to the substance. But yeah, no, I think it's an incredibly timely film in kind of every sense. But, you know, even stuff like Eyes Without a Face and The Skin I Live In, where in both of those films, the receiver of the surgery receives it kind of non-consensually.
Yeah, kind of unwillingly.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to talk about as well.
So our first movie is Eyes Without a Face. It is a French film from the year 1960. It's a horror movie, and it was directed by Georges Franju. These are very French names, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, three of the there. Yeah, it was written by four guys, and three of them are named Pierre.
Yeah, so I'm just like forewarning you now. I will be butchering these names.
Yeah, we don't attempt the accent.
No. So it was first released in France, like I said, in the year 1960 in January. It was distributed in the U.S. by Loper Pictures or Loper Pictures, and it premiered in the U.S. in October of 1962 under the title The Horror Chamber of Dr. Faustus or Faustu. Faustus. Okay, close enough. Which is very interesting because Dr. Faustus is actually not a character in the film.
Yeah.
Like at all.
He's not. He doesn't exist.
They were like, you know what? Just different movie.
Yeah, no, fully. I don't know. I guess they thought that was a better, maybe the Horror Chamber of Dr. Genessier wouldn't have gone over as well with American audiences. I don't know.
I enjoyed this movie. It's kind of slow, and I'll get into like my more detailed problems as we go throughout the film. But I do kind of always love like a creepy older movie.
Yeah.
There's a weird sense of nostalgia whenever I watch movies like that. I don't know why.
I know what you mean. And this one especially, I mean, it is so easy to see the influence of this film on horror today. Like there's a reason that this is so highly regarded in the horror canon. Mm-hmm. I mean, even The Skin I Live In, which we're talking about next, is really like an homage almost to Eyes Without a Face.
Nearly a ripoff.
Very closely.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like this film. Is it a favorite? No, but I've seen it. This was my second time watching it, and I enjoyed it even more the second time, I would say.
This was a first watch for me, and I enjoyed it, definitely. Like, there's parts that really kind of had me leaning in, and there were other parts where I found myself checking my phone, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But overall, again, you can appreciate how this film has clearly influenced so many others. And I also think it's this is probably like the first, if not one of the first movies that really touches on plastic surgery and this type of body horror, which was so unknown back then.
So the film opens on a woman dumping a corpse into a river, the chicest woman in the world. She's in like a leather trench coat. She drives away in her little coupe. It's like, okay, this is the most French disposing of a body I've ever seen.
Yes, we love it.
The body is later identified by surgeon Dr. Genessier, who's played by Pierre Brassois, as his daughter Christiane, who had been reported missing after a car crash severely disfigured her face, and then supposedly she ran away. We learn that Christiane, who is played by Edith Schaub, actually still lives with Dr. Genessier, and she lives in a mansion next to his private clinic. She wears a mask to cover her disfigured face, and the mask is kind of the key motif of the film, really. It is the main motif of the film.
It's also the poster of the film.
I love the poster. So good. The body, which was disposed of by Genessier's assistant Louise, who's played by Alida Valli, actually belongs to a woman whose facial skin Dr. Genessier removed and unsuccessfully attempted to graft onto Christiane's face. And we find out that he's been doing this. Like, he's been kidnapping women, taking their faces, and trying to graft them onto his daughter's face because she's so disfigured.
Yes, I have to say, I kind of wish this reveal that Christiane was still alive and that Genessier was the one responsible for this girl's death was a bit more of a reveal.
I agree.
It's a little obvious, and I feel like that could have been a pretty good twist or point in the movie where you're like, oh shit, she's still alive. But the way that they build it up, Genessier is so clearly guilty. Like, he's not trying to hide his suspicious activity whatsoever.
No, and they really that is the setup. They don't drag the mystery out at all. I do think they definitely could have gotten some mileage out of that, of what exactly is going on. But yeah, no, this is all kind of presented to us within the first 15 minutes.
Also, another note, I don't know if it's here later, but we learn very early on that Christiane's car crash is Genessier's fault.
Yes.
He was driving the car and he was
like a reckless driver.
Yeah. And Christiane says he's always needs to be in control and he's very overbearing.
Also, too, I think the whole reason that he's even doing this, kidnapping these women and murdering them to take their faces, is because he's so guilty over the fact that he was the one to disfigure his daughter.
It's so weird because I don't even feel like it's guilt.
Do you not? I feel like that was entirely what drove him.
I feel like it's, maybe in the beginning, I always kind of took it more as he just needs, this is an obstacle and he just needs to fix the obstacle. It's a problem because Christiane, kind of, we'll see later as we talk about the movie, but she doesn't like what her father's doing. It's not like she's asking for the new face.
No, she's not. But in my mind, I do think that maybe it's a warped sense of guilt, but I do think it is guilt that is driving him. The fact that it was his fault matters.
So Genessier's next victim is a woman named Edna. She's a young woman whom Louise befriends and lures into Genessier's mansion with the offer of a room for rent. Genessier then sedates Edna with chloroform, removes her face before grating it onto Christiane's face. And when Edna wakes up to find herself faceless and disfigured, she attempts to escape through a window but falls to her death. I kind of always took it as she just decided to take her own life.
Oh, I thought that she was just trying to get out.
Well, also Christiane is kind of chasing her, just kind of following her, and she's wearing the terrifying mask. That mask is very scary.
Super scary.
So maybe she was just trying to escape, but...
So after disposing of Edna's corpse, Genessier notices that Christiane's skin has rejected the new tissue, and we're shown this in a series of photographs.
That was cool.
I thought that was really good, where you can see over days the skin literally disintegrating.
It's decaying off of her face. The effects are something that for 1960 I was really impressed with.
I thought so too. Christiane attempts to phone her fiance Jacques, who is played by Francois Guérin. And he's also one of Dr. Genessier's assistants. And and Louise catches her on the phone and cuts off the call.
I actually didn't know that he didn't know, because
Yeah.
I kind of thought he would, because Louise knows, and it seems like Jacques and Genessier like work very closely with each other. But when she tried to do the call and he didn't realize who it was, I was like, that's fucked.
Yeah, right?
And it makes you wonder as the movie goes on, like, what really does Christiane have? Like, because she can't go out into society anymore. People think she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
She can't be with her fiance because he thinks she's dead.
She can't leave the house.
She can't leave the house. Her face, even if she does get a new one, it's not her.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, now she has to, like we were saying earlier, it's like this sense of self. Is it really even her anymore?
That's the thing, too, with the Christiane character. You never know who she is.
No.
She's wears this creepy mask. She's dressed entirely in white throughout the movie, and she literally just kind of floats around the house like
She's
a
almost like a
ghost.
phantom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just kind of always over Genessier's shoulder watching. But we never really know who she is. And I think that's kind of important in maybe the ethos of the film, is that her identity has been stripped from her. But that's the thing, is her identity wasn't really stripped from her because of the accident. Her identity has been stripped because of her father's gone crazy and has trapped her in this house.
I think the only thing that we can infer about her character is that, again, she doesn't like all this killing in her name.
That's quite clear.
She expresses that a lot, and she expresses that she's very unhappy in her new circumstances, would rather just die.
Mm-hmm.
Jacques informs the police, who have been investigating the disappearance of young women with similar facial characteristics. Inspector Perot instructs a young woman with comparable features named Paulette, who was recently arrested for shoplifting, to check herself into Genessier's clinic. They didn't have a cop that could do this.
I know. I thought the same thing.
I thought that was so weird. I was like, why would, I mean, like, I kind of get, they basically blackmail her, these cops.
And they want to bait Genessier. Like, they're sending in a woman who looks exactly like the other women that have gone missing.
But that's so fucked up.
I know.
And they don't tell her why. They're not like, we need your help. They literally are just like, just lie and say you have headaches and go to this doctor's visit. And she's like, oh, okay. So soon after, Paulette is picked up by Louise and delivered to Dr. Genessier. Shocker. So she's basically kidnapped. But before he can begin surgery on Paulette, the police arrive.
Which, again, lucky.
Yeah, pure luck.
Lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know. He could have 5 more minutes. He would have made incisions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They got there right on time, and they absolutely would have destroyed this girl's life.
Right. I mean, still, she's been drugged and kidnapped, and like she's chained to like a surgery table. I'd be scarred for life.
Yeah. So while Genessier talks with the police, Christiane, who, as we said, has grown really disenchanted with her father's experiments and is slowly starting to go a little crazy.
I would.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? She decides to act. She frees Paulette and murders Louise. She also frees the dogs and the doves that her father uses for experiments, and a lot of parallels had been drawn earlier between Christiane and the animals on which her father experiments.
Yes, there's a great visual of these birds in a cage with Christiane, and it's like...
And again, she's in all white. Mm-hmm. They're white birds.
She's very soft-spoken and very, like, angelic, too.
Very feminine.
Yes.
Even her movements are so, like, delicate.
Yeah, you were right when you're like, she's like a ghost that kind of just, like, haunts this house. Mm-hmm. So when Genessier dismisses the police, who readily accept his explanations.
Yeah, they really do not want to look very far into this.
Which is so fucked up because they're the ones who lose Paulette. Like, they literally send her into the, like, lion's den. They lose her, and then they're like, well, I guess she's just gone. Like, are you kidding me?
I do love in older films when the police just don't do their jobs.
No, they're so incompetent. So Genessier returns to his lab, and his newly acquired German Shepherd attacks him, inciting the other dogs to follow suit, mauling him to death. This was so satisfying.
Yeah.
I mean, Genessier is not a good guy, like, at all. I don't really find anything redeemable in this movie.
Not really. It's clearly, and then again, this is explored once again in The Skin I Live In, but this is someone who started out with a mission that was maybe a little sympathetic, like trying to help his daughter, but has gotten so drunk on power and really has taken on this god complex, which I think a lot of surgeons probably have. Mm-hmm. And that's really warped him into someone who's completely irredeemable.
So Genessier is killed. Christiane is unmoved by his death. And as the film ends, we see her strolling out into the woods with a dove in her hands. I actually really like this ending. I thought she would end the movie by taking her own life because she's like expressed it. And I kind of like that it ends with her just kind of walking out.
I like that
being
too.
free. And there's this great like haunting music that plays, and the visual, like the actual shot of her leaving. The shots are very cool. I wouldn't say they're like the most impressive shots I've seen in an older film, but
Yeah.
they definitely help with the atmosphere the film is creating.
I really liked the cinematography. I agree. Is it the most beautiful black and white I've ever seen? No, but it's very well shot in my opinion.
It's again works with the theme of the movie.
And the mise en scène is so great. I mean, like we said, the mask, which again is the central motif of the film, is haunting to look at. I love how kind of giant and clunky and like nasty looking all the surgical instruments are. Like I found like almost to the point of parody, they're so like large and imposing.
Right, they look
and
like
scary.
torture devices.
Yeah, but I think that works really well. I really, really liked the set dressing and the mise en scène and the production design. Like I thought that really kind of carried the film in a lot of ways.
Again, the practical effects. There's one shot where we see what Christiane's face looks like without the mask on. And I was impressed. I was like, that actually looks really good considering it's 1960.
No, I thought so too.
And it
like,
looks
it's
scary.
Eerie.
Yeah. I liked this movie. It's a little slow. I'm not going to lie. It's a little boring. But I really like the idea. And again, when you think about how revolutionary this was and how this has influenced some of my favorite movies ever and body horror and just kind of this entire subgenre of film, it is really impressive. I find it ironic how the whole reason why Genessier is doing this is because he's like, now you can have a new life again. You can start over again. It's like, well, can she?
Yeah.
Could you imagine getting a completely different face and Olivia is dead? Like, and you're just expected to go out and live this new life as a completely different person. Like, how do you do that?
I find this film pretty haunting. I agree. It is a little slow at times, which honest, it's like an hour and a half long. Like it is 90 minutes.
Yeah. Like for a movie with such a short runtime, I found a lot of scenes dragging.
I agree. And both of the other movies we watched are much longer, and neither of those movies
fly by.
Oh my god, like this feels longer than The Substance and The Skin I Live In.
Totally.
And it's actually like way shorter than both of them, but I liked it. I felt some of the soundtrack choices were a little odd.
Again, I just kind of like that old creepy music. I agree with you where sometimes it felt a bit out of theme.
It just sometimes felt at odds with the scene we were being shown, and not in a like fun way.
No, I can agree with that.
It's just something about it felt a little disjointed to me, but I know that people love the soundtrack for this, so maybe it's just not for me.
Yeah, that's okay.
But overall, yeah, I think this is a good one. I think if you're into horror, this is kind of a foundational film. This is something that
could totally
people
be like
watch.
a watch once, you don't have to watch it again. I don't know if I'll come back to it anytime soon, but I'm glad I did watch it.
Me too, and I'm more interested to talk about it in conversation with The Skin I Live In.
I'm going to give this movie, I would say like 6.5 out of 10.
I'm with you. I'm giving it a 6.5. So our second film is, as we mentioned multiple times, The Skin I Live In. It came out in 2011. It is a thriller and was directed by Pedro Almodóvar. It was written by Pedro Almodóvar, and who I believe was his brother, Augustin Almodóvar. And it is based on Thierry Jonquet's 1984 novel Miguel.
You guys, spoiler alert, this is my favorite movie of this lineup.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I love this. Might be like one of my favorite movies ever. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Valid.
Substance is like a close second, but watching this movie again, I was like, yeah, no, it's like nearly perfect movie in my opinion.
Oh, I would totally agree with you. I am truly surprised it's not too weird for you.
No, which you know what?
Because this is a weird one.
It's weird, you know, and you know me, I don't like movies that are like too fucked up or like really dark and intense, like for the sake of being dark and intense. But something about this movie, I'll get into it later, like but I love this movie.
Oh, I mean,
It's like,
who can blame you?
so It premiered at the 2011 Cannes Film Festival. It was distributed by Sony Pictures Classic, and it received a limited release in Spain in September 2011 and a limited release in the US in October of 2011. And it was nominated for Best Original Score at the Academy Awards.
Yeah, no other nominations. Criminal, none for cinematography. So I have an interesting history with this film. This was the first Almodóvar that I watched, and I watched it at a very formative age. I think I was like 14 or 15.
I think maybe same.
Yeah, this was really I would credit this film as like my introduction to weird cinema.
Really?
Yeah.
What a great movie to start with.
I know. Like oh my God, this film is awesome. But yeah, when I was 14, I worshipped at the altar of this film. I loved it more than I can even say. Like, this is one of the films that helped me realize my taste. And then went and watched a bunch of other Almodóvar films. I love Almodóvar, big fan. The Skin I Live In is probably my favorite of his films.
Same.
Because it's the closest he's gotten to just making a Yorgos Lanthimos film.
I don't know if I could even compare the two. Like, I think.
Have you seen Dogtooth?
No, maybe that's why.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it reminds me a little bit of Lanthimos, and you know that he makes movies for me, and so I love this movie as well.
I saw this movie. My mom showed it to me actually, and she was like, "This is such." We love like horror and thrillers.
I've never watched this movie with my parents.
She showed it to me.
That's
she was
insane.
like, "Have you ever seen The Skin I Live In?" And I was like, "What's that?" And she was like, "Oh, we're watching it right now." And I think I was like 15, maybe 16, and she showed it to me. I was like, "That slapped."
Yeah.
Like, that was a great movie. And yeah, I think this is maybe the third time I've seen it. It's been a while though, but watching it again for the podcast, like I was looking for something to be like, that sucked, or I didn't like that, or that was unnecessary.
All
and
of
like,
it works.
yeah, everything is perfect.
So to get into the plot, the film opens on a young woman. She's dressed head to toe in a skin-colored bodysuit, and she's shown doing yoga in like this beautiful large bedroom. In a montage, we watch the woman kind of just like occupying herself with mundane tasks. She's like making a doll, she's reading. And it's slowly revealed that she's being monitored by surveillance cameras. This woman's name is Vera. She's played by Elena Anaya, and she is being held captive.
And from the opening shot, you realize just how fucking gorgeous this movie is going to be. I mean, every shot is a perfect painting. Every scene is so picturesque. It is so underrated.
Yeah. Even the use of surveillance cameras and surveillance screens and footage is brilliant. The camera itself, even when we're not seeing the screens, there's something about it that's very voyeuristic. Just the stillness of it. You're always kind of a little away from a lot of the action, a lot of wide shots, a lot of
like almost like you said voyeuristic. Yeah. Like I was going to say like very observational.
Yeah. And a very core theme of the film is voyeurism. And we're shown that again and again through these beautiful shots of the camera footage of Vera.
So we learn Vera is a prisoner at a private research facility belonging to plastic surgeon Robert Legard, and he's played by Antonio Banderas, who, can I just say, I absolutely adore. I think he is seriously one of the most underrated actors ever.
Fully.
Like everything I've seen him in, he is incredible.
And I love his work with Almodóvar.
Oh, that's the peak of his career.
100%.
Everyone needs to appreciate Antonio. Also, like, hello, gorgeous.
I
man.
mean, of course.
Yeah, but I think like I love him in this. I love him in Evita. I love him in everything I've ever seen him in.
He's great. He's a great
incredible
actor. Dude, Spy Kids.
Yeah, Spy Kids, Puss in Boots, banger. Like, come on. So Robert is using Vera as a test subject for an artificial burnt-resistant skin he has created named Gal. Robert's servant Maria, who's played by Marissa Paredes, helps him take care of Vera and is likely really the only other person who knows of Vera's existence and her captivity. it's kind of more of a side plot in this. Not even a side plot. It's just kind of something that comes up. But we talked about in Eyes Without a Face, kind of like this role of like playing God. I think there's kind of this almost like a Frankenstein aspect of this movie where Robert's character, you know, he's creating this like, you know, burnt resistant skin. And there's a great scene where one of the other doctors comes up to him and is like, you know, they talk about transgenics and kind of how immoral it is to use in their practice. And I think the doctor actually has a really good line of being like, you're not God. Like, you can't do stuff like this. And Antonio Banderas is basically like, fuck off. And I think it's kind of an underrated theme how Robert's character gets so carried away by his own work and his, what we'll see to be like later an obsession with Vera.
Yes, who is, at this point, we don't know the details of how, but her entire body is made of his skin, of his fake skin. Yeah, I also, there's definitely a bit of Pygmalion, a little bit of the creator becoming obsessed with his creation.
Oh, and I mean, we'll see that. I'll get into it at the end, but it's so apparent their dynamic, how this kind of like fatal flaw takes him down.
So one morning while Ledgard is out, Maria's estranged son, Zika, who's played by Roberto Alamo, who has just committed a robbery, arrives at the facility and asks to basically hide out there for a few days. He spots Vera on Ledgard's security camera screens and mistakes her for Ledgard's deceased wife, who we learn is named Gal, which is what he named the skin. Zika binds and gags Maria and assaults Vera, but Ledgard arrives and shoots Zika mid-assault.
And while this is happening, Vera, once Zika comes in, she goes along with pretending to be Gal and basically like tries to convince Zika to help her escape, but he's kind of a degenerate and only has interest in having sex with her. But I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
How she's like kind of trying to play him, but she also is like completely in the dark. Like she doesn't know anything about Gal or really what their relationship is. So after this whole ordeal, Maria reveals to Vera that Zika and Ledgard are actually half-brothers and are both her sons, unbeknownst to them. Ledgard was adopted by Maria's wealthy employers because she had him with the man that she worked for, and Zika grew up in poverty because Maria had him with another servant.
Years earlier, Zika actually had an affair with Ledgard's wife, Gal, and they ran off together, but ended up getting in a horrible car crash. Zika assumed that Gal died in the crash. Apparently, it was really bad, and he survived, so he just gets up and flees. However, Ledgard ends up finding Gal, severely burnt but still alive, and he took her back home to help her recover and kept her in total darkness and away from mirrors. When Gal eventually saw her reflection in a window and realized how disfigured she was, like she's entirely burnt.
She's almost not human looking.
She jumps out the window and kills herself in front of her young daughter, Norma.
So now I love how the information is revealed in this movie. It's done so well. So now, like, you know, we still don't know kind of Vera and how she plays a part in all this, but at least we know now that Vera's face, her skin is modeled after Gal, who is Robert's dead wife.
And it's so uncanny that Zika fully mistook her for Gal.
Zika like immediately is like, I thought you died. And again, Vera, we don't know kind of what the dynamic is, but we know that she is desperate to escape captivity enough so that she'll pretend to be Gal. So from here, the film becomes increasingly nonlinear, and we go into flashbacks from both Ledgard and Vera's perspectives.
Yes, Ledgard has a dream that reveals that 6 years earlier, he found his daughter Norma, now like a teenager young adult. He found her unconscious on the ground at a party, presumably having been assaulted. Already mentally unstable after witnessing her mother's suicide at such a young age, this incident caused Norma to have a full mental break. And she ended up getting committed to a mental health facility where she also eventually committed suicide. So both Ledgard's wife and his daughter experienced some sort of, his wife had an affair, his daughter presumably experienced sexual trauma, and both of them took their own lives in his mind as a result of those things.
I mean, the man can't catch a break. This, first of all, again, like you said.
I find it hard to have sympathy for him.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm kind of on his side for the majority of this movie.
That's crazy.
Well, okay. This isn't me defending, but this is just me further explaining for people watching. Norma, the daughter, is already actually in that mental health facility, and then for years because of her mother's death.
Yeah.
And then is like released on this one night where they're having some sort of like gala party. And they even say in the flashback, they're like, your daughter seems like she's doing better. And he's like, yeah, like, you know, things are going pretty well. You know, she seems like she's having a good time. Hopefully she can come home soon. Poor girl she's the real victim of this story. The poor girl gets assaulted. So that's up for debate, and we'll get into that later.
At this point, we don't know.
Well,
at
yes,
this point, we think she's gotten assaulted.
Yes, it's presumed she's gotten assaulted. And when Robert finds her, she's so traumatized that afterwards she has it in her mind that he is the one who assaulted her.
Yeah.
So she can't even look at her own father, and she's terrified of them. And then she takes her own life. Like,
yeah, okay.
I mean, it's insanely rough. So back in the present, Vera also dreams of that same night. In her dream, a man named Vicente, who's played by Jan Cornet, meets Norma at a party. This same party that we've seen in Robert's dream. They flirt and begin to get intimate in the garden. When the party starts playing the song that Norma was singing when she saw her mother's death, she has a panic attack. Vicente accidentally knocks her unconscious while trying to calm her down and flees the scene. I feel like this summary is kind of a little too forgiving to Vicente.
Yeah.
Okay. He is extremely high. He's on like a bunch of pills.
They took like ecstasy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's on pills. He's immediately all over her.
Yeah.
Like he is very, I wouldn't say aggressive, but he's very eager.
Forward.
Yeah, forward. Norma doesn't deny him, but she is a little like clearly like kind of frozen. And then once she starts freaking out, he starts kind of fighting her.
Yeah.
And then knocks her out.
But I don't think he meant to knock her out.
No, I think he was panicked.
I think he was panicked and just like, wait, what the hell is going on?
But also, he did hit her. And he did like try to make her be quiet for a while.
Yeah. No, like he's definitely not a great guy.
Well, I think he's, like you said, he's panicked because once Norma is unconscious, he like quickly like kind of just covers her up. I think more so to kind of make it seem like she wasn't she didn't just have sex, more so than like out of respect for her. I think it's just panicky, and then he leaves. And
she like really freaks out. Like,
she starts like screaming and saying no.
Like, yeah, like having a full on like wide-eyed screaming panic.
Well, she, I mean, is so unstable. Even like when they're talking, she's very like, I actually do find it funny when he's like, oh, have you taken any pills? And she's like, I'm on Lexapro, I'm on this. I was like, that's kind of funny.
There is a decent amount of this movie that's kind of darkly funny.
No, yeah. There's a few lines here and there. But I do have to say, I feel like the summary...
You think we're being too kind to him?
Not even being too kind. I just think that scene is way more up for debate than it's more so just like, he didn't do anything wrong.
That's fair. I do think he absolutely handled it one of the worst ways he could have handled it.
Yeah, totally.
But I don't think that he like... took her out there and assaulted her. Like,
well,
she was
I don't think that was his
intent.
intent.
Yeah. So we then learn that Ledgard tracked Vicente down, kidnapped him, and subjected him to about 6 years of torture, surgeries, and eventually a sex reassignment procedure, transforming him into who we know as Vera.
So Vera is Vicente. I love that shot where she turns and then we see Vicente and then we go into the flashback. I mean, the visual storytelling is so good.
And Vera is essentially a replica of his wife, Gal. Like, he has
basically like Frankensteined a new version of his late wife.
Yeah, under the guise of punishing Vicente for the supposed attack on Norma. Vicente ended up like complying with Ledgard's experiments. He wants to stay alive. Like,
Well, he also doesn't really have a choice.
yeah. But he stops fighting it as much as the years go on. But he still really struggles to keep himself sane. We see that Vera's he doesn't have as much memory of his life as Vicente as.
Also, Vera tries to take her own life many times. So back in the present, Ledgard tries to initiate sex with Vera, but
And we all kind of can surmise that he has been having sex with her.
I don't think he has yet.
I think he has. It was too
I think he's
casual,
building
I
up
think.
to it because when she's assaulted by Zika, I always kind of took that as like he's really, well, I guess he could be upset because it reminds him of the affair that his wife had.
I think that's
But
what it
I
was.
thought it was also because like, it's a sex reassignment surgery, like everything's very tender down there.
Yeah.
So I thought it was more so that like they haven't had sex yet because everything is still new and
But there's
the body's
that bit
not used
where it's
to
like
it.
they're in bed together
Well, they are.
and seem comfortable in bed together.
Well, I
and
definitely think they've been
and-
intimate.
Yeah, like I think they have been. And when he tries to initiate, she's like, no, like I'm still in pain basically after being assaulted like a few hours ago.
Right. Less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah. That made me think that it had happened before.
Interesting. I always kind of took it as like they had been intimate, but they haven't actually had
Okay.
sex yet.
Maybe.
Either. I mean, it's not that big of a difference.
Either way,
Whichever.
Ledgard he built a new wife and he's making this man pretend that he's his wife,
Well,
essentially.
okay. I was going to bring it up later, but this originally starts as a punishment.
Yeah.
Which, can I just say, that is the most diabolical shit ever. We did a revenge episode.
Talk about loss
a long
of sense
time
of
ago.
self.
Like, this is the most fucking perfect revenge I've ever seen. For in Ledgard's mind, where your daughter is, in your mind, assaulted, is terrified of you, then takes her own life, and you find the man who's, in your mind, responsible of this.
I mean, also very interesting that in order to dominate Vicente completely, he literally feels like he has to make him into a woman.
I always took that as like, oh, you like to assault women? Like, pff, I'm going to take away your weapon.
I think that's what it started as, but that is
now-
not at all what it has turned into.
Oh, well, what it's turned into is, like I said before, of this playing God, where I don't think he originally meant for Vera to be a replacement for his late wife. But of course, once she gets that new face.
Yeah.
And even Maria throughout the entire movie is like, the similarity is just too strong. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And he's like, no, I just, modeled it after whatever. And then, it's very much that playing God of like, well, yeah, I basically did make myself a new wife, but that's not your wife, buddy. That's Vicente. So, like I said, Ledgard tries to initiate sex with Vera, but she tells him she's still in pain. She says that she had bought lubricant, so she goes to go retrieve it, and she actually goes and gets Ledgard's gun and fatally shoots him.
Now freed from captivity, Vicente returns to his mother's dress shop and tells his ex-colleague Christina, who he had loved 6 years prior, of his kidnapping and forced sex change and the murders. And when his mother enters the room, Vicente reveals his identity to her by saying, "I am Vicente," which is very like powerful in the film when he
when he has to
reasserts his
say-
own identity. Yeah.
I love how, Vicente works at this dress shop, and he clearly likes his job and likes, working with his mother in the dresses. And I love how by the end of it, there's something that like scare him because of this change. Like he is like haunted by this thing that used to bring him joy. Such a good movie.
Yeah, no, it's really excellent.
So fucked up.
So fucked up. I really could not get behind Antonio Banderas's character. Like I found him like sickening.
Oh, he's a super villain. I
Yeah.
mean, he is fucking, that shit is the most diabolical thing you could do to a person. But I guess it's because I can so clearly see his hurt from like just his life. Like imagine your wife cheats on you with this man who's actually your brother, almost dies in this car crash. You bring her back to life basically. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Antonio Banderas is like a victim at all. I think from the very beginning, the second he decided to bring his wife back to life, he's already doing this playing God, trying to control everything.
I mean, the movie is literally about like consent and control.
I also think,
and it really was like, he's so haunted by his inability to control his wife and daughter and sees that as what led to their deaths, and not like, maybe you shouldn't have brought her home and hid mirrors from her and kept her in the dark.
Right, and kept her daughter away from her.
Yeah, like maybe you should have tried to reintroduce her to the world in a way where that's not terrifying.
But also, you know, you have Norma, who is so mentally fragile. And then, of course, the one time he takes her to a party and tries to give her a fucking nice night, she is traumatized and ends up taking her own life. And, you know, one could argue, like, how much of it is his fault and how much of it is not his fault. I guess I just feel more sympathy towards him. Not to say I don't feel sympathy towards Vicente at all. I just do think that it's just such a perfectly fucked up situation on both sides in my mind.
Yeah.
And I can really see both characters and what they go through.
Yeah.
I do think, don't get me wrong, I do think Vera deserves to be freed. It's not like I'm like, oh, she should have stayed in that house forever.
I mean, I think even part of what makes Vera so enticing to Robert, it's not just that she looks like his wife, it's that she's a version of his wife that he has complete control over. Like, that is a lot of what he loves about her, is
basically
that he
created
controls her, that he created her. But yeah, I mean, the moment that you realize that he is sexually assaulting Vicente, who, like, he's a prisoner, he cannot consent.
Right.
I lose all sympathy for him. I'm like,
I guess maybe
you've turned into a worse monster than anyone else.
I guess maybe that's why, because again, in my mind, they had never had sex. So maybe that's why because in that perspective, I'm like, yeah, no, that's awful. I mean, you're basically doing onto Vicente what Vicente did onto your daughter.
Yeah. But like 50 times worse.
No,
like,
yeah, but in his mind, that's exactly what he did.
So something I really enjoyed about both Eyes Without a Face and The Skin I Live In is how both Genessier and Ledgard are both kind of mad scientists. They both fall into that trope in a lot of ways, but then in other ways they kind of subvert the mad scientist thing, because neither of them are driven by the need to innovate or like the need to pursue science. Like, it's all deeper with both of them. Like, Ledgard is driven by anger and the desire to get revenge, which then morphs into like this crazy god complex. And Genessier is driven by like guilt and probably also a little bit of the need to control as well. Like, he can't just let his daughter live her life disfigured. It has to be fixed.
Well, I would take that one step further and say that both men are very, you know, respected in their fields, and they're quite known as geniuses in their fields, and yet they reject any offer to continue their work.
Yeah.
Like, you see it a lot more in The Skin I Live In than Eyes Without a Face, but there's at least one scene in both movies where other doctors are like, you're so amazing, like your work is so revolutionary, like you should be doing more, or you should be doing this, and
they're so both consumed with
their
personal
own
projects.
Things. Exactly. And you're right, with, you know, Robert, it's about revenge at first. And I actually think Robert's is a little bit about guilt too. It's avenging his daughter in some sort of way. But you're right. With Genessier, it's all about controlling. And really with both of them, it's all about controlling the narrative.
100%. But yeah, no, I mean, I love this film. It's truly a kind of a perfect thriller in many ways. This is one for the weirdos and the perverts, though. Like, this is... Yeah,
there's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of disturbing... Again, there's many assault scenes.
Which, if you're familiar with Almodóvar, like, his films are very... he likes to explore sexuality. He likes to explore gender and homosexuality, and will often... Really, gender in Almodóvar films is very fluid, which, I mean, was really not a thing at the time.
No, again, these movies are very revolutionary.
And he's really kind of rejected the notion that his films were ahead of their time. He's just like, this is just what I want to make. Like, I wasn't trying to make any sort of statement.
Right. He wasn't trying to like, start something new.
No, he really wasn't. He's really kind of insisted on that. And it's just like, no, like I just make what comes out of my brain. And like, I'm so happy he never went to therapy.
I know.
Yeah, no, so many of his films are great. This is another great one. I'm going to give The Skin I Live In a 9 out of 10. It has been a 10 out of 10 for me in the past. This past watch, I'm going to go 9.
Again, in my mind, this is like pretty much a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I just really love it. I think the story, I think the acting, I think the writing, cinematography, everything is so incredible. I got to give it a 10.
Fair enough. So Maggie and I saw The Substance together in theaters 2 years ago.
Like the weekend it came out.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And oh my God, it was so much fun.
It was so good.
It was a really good theater experience too. Like we were in a packed theater. People were into it.
I think I saw it like literally 2 days later with my other friend because I was like, no, I have to see it again.
I did the same. I also brought my other friend to see it later that week.
So if you couldn't tell already, our final movie is The Substance, and it came out in 2024. It's a horror film directed and written by Coralie Fargeat.
The Substance premiered at the 2024 Cannes Film Festival and was nominated for the Palme d'Or. It was distributed by Mubi, and I believe it was actually Mubi's first theatrical release.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, kind of hit it out of the park on the first try. It received a wide release in September 2024. And it was nominated for 4 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actress for Demi Moore. And it won It won Best Makeup and Hairstyling. The Substance was my favorite movie of last year. It has since become one of my favorite movies of all time. It is, pretty excellent. It's one of the few films that I saw and I thought, oh, I wish I could have made that. Mm-hmm. I can love a film and not have that feeling. With this one specifically, I'm like, you took this from somewhere hidden deep in a dark part of my brain.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I really, really connect with this film.
See, I could never be like, you took this from a part of my brain, because I don't think I could ever do something as incredible as The Substance.
I mean, that's fair. Me neither. But
and more so, I'm like, I watch this movie and I'm like, yes, like this is why I love film.
Yeah.
This is why I love movies, why I wanted to study film. Like, this is a great example. When the Oscars were happening last year, it was one of those years like Anora swept a lot. And I like Anora.
I like Anora too.
It was one of those things where I was like, can we get one for this? Like, I really think Best Director or Best Picture or Best Original Screenplay.
We didn't even get a production design nomination.
Crazy.
This film is some of the best production design I've ever seen.
The different homages to other horror movies, that alone is just so impressive.
Yeah, no, this is the kind of movie that when it finishes, like, you just want to stand up and cheer. It's like, this is what a movie can do to you. It really affected me. I cried. I laughed. I had my mouth open in shock and horror. It's everything.
I've seen this movie maybe 5 times now, just within this past year of it coming out. And this is a pretty long movie.
Yeah, it's over 2 hours.
Not once have I ever been like, oh my God. I actually just showed my parents it because I went as Elizabeth for Halloween. My mom was like, I don't think I've seen The Substance. And we watched it and I thought they would really hate it because it's super weird. And my parents really liked it.
I mean, it's
just a great
done.
movie.
I similarly also watched it with my mom recently, who I thought she would hate it. She didn't hate it. She didn't like the ending. Like, she didn't like when everything went crazy.
A lot of people find that part more controversial. I thought my parents would hate it, but they were like, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
It probably wasn't their favorite part of the movie, but it didn't take away anything for them.
So, yeah, something that's like super important to note about this film, this thing is absolutely just oozing with style.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say oozing with gore. And I was like,
I mean, that too.
Yes, it's a crazy gory movie.
It is one of the most stylish movies I've ever seen. Critic Kate Reif said that the film is probably not for people who don't like being pummeled with excessive style. And I think that really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I mean, everything from the shots to the sets to the costumes to the makeup.
It's all
the use
really,
of practical effects. Everything is
really
so
purposeful.
Gorgeous.
I would recommend for those who are fans, Mubi released like a half an hour long featurette on the making of the film on YouTube.
Ooh.
It is fascinating. They show you how they do all of the practical effects. It is so cool to watch if you're interested in how they made this. So, do you want to jump into the plot?
Yes, let's do it.
Our protagonist is Elizabeth Sparkle, and she is played by Demi Moore. She's a formerly successful actress who now hosts a Jane Fonda-esque daytime aerobics show. On her 50th birthday, her contract is abruptly terminated by her boss, Harvey, who's played excellently by Dennis Quaid, just chewing scenery.
Oh, he's almost a scene stealer.
He really is. He plays just this disgusting, like
sleazy TV
executive.
Yeah.
He's the show's producer, and he fires her on the basis that she's just getting too old.
Right away, you'll notice there's very little dialogue in this movie, and the dialogue that is spoken is so blunt and so ridiculously
Over the top.
Yes,
Yeah.
like it's
like he's a parody of like a sleazy executive type of character.
Almost everyone, like every line that is spoken is so cheesy, but you'll notice that is very purposeful.
Yeah.
And usually I don't like that when movies do that, even if it is purposeful. But in the substance, everything comes together so well that you can't like hate it. So on the same day, Elizabeth gets into a car accident and is taken to the hospital. After it's determined that she hasn't sustained any serious injuries, a very good-looking male nurse gives her a flash drive with information about a biotech product called The Substance, an injectable serum that supposedly creates a younger, more beautiful, more perfect version of oneself.
After some deliberation, she like kind of thinks it's silly at first.
She thinks it's like a scam.
Yeah. She ends up ordering the substance and injects the single-use activator serum. She immediately starts convulsing and eventually, kind of, for lack of a better way to explain it in words, gives birth out of her back. Her back like splits open.
Yeah, her entire spine.
And a younger woman crawls out of her body.
This is such a great scene.
It really is. It's so good. This woman names herself Sue, and she is played by Margaret Qualley, who's also excellent in this.
Oh, yeah. She's like a bratty. I'm stealing my other friend who I saw this movie with. He said she's like a bratty, like 2000s pop star.
Yeah.
Like I want her to release an album now. And I was like, you're so right. She's like a Britney.
True. She's Britney. She's Cindy Crawford drinking a Pepsi in cut off jean shorts. Like she is like a sexy bratty bombshell. So we learn that the two bodies, Elizabeth and Sue, must switch consciousness every 7 days without exception. Whichever body is inactive remains unconscious and needs to be fed intravenously. So Sue also must give herself daily injections of stabilizer fluid, which is Elizabeth's spinal fluid that she has to extract to present herself from deteriorating, because she's like not a person. She was made from Elizabeth.
She's a product.
Yeah.
If you don't like needles, this might not be the movie for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of close-up needles.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of times where I have to like kind of go like that on the screen because it makes me very squeamish. But yeah, just a little forewarning. Sue auditions for Elizabeth's old job, gets the role, and becomes an overnight sensation. As her fame grows, Elizabeth retreats further into isolation and self-hatred.
Yeah, and Sue's new and improved version of this daytime exercise show is like the most hyper sexed up, like all the like the dancing workouts. It's all like
it's like gyrating
and like they're all in these little skimpy
like bodysuits, unitard kind of things.
It's very like pandering to the lowest common denominator sort of thing.
And also like there's a lot of close-ups on their butts and again their hips.
And Coralie Fargeat really again, like everything about this movie is so over the top. So the camera really like male gazes Sue to the point of parody.
Yeah, there's a lot of nudity, a lot of shots on the body in this movie, but it's to emphasize the difference between Elizabeth and Sue and their dynamic.
And also, I will say, even the nudity, because most of the nudity takes place when they're doing like the transformations or when they're switching bodies, like
or showering,
or something like that. So the nudity is never shot in a way that I would find like gratuitously over-sexualized, but it's like when Sue is presenting herself to the world, that is when the camera will like zoom in on her boobs or like her legs or her butt. Like it's when we're seeing Sue from the perspective of the outside world is when Sue is shown in a very, very over-sexualized way.
There's that great scene with the auditions, and when Sue walks in, it's literally just her ass.
Yeah.
And we can see the men in the background who are like super sleazy, and it's like that is their gaze onto her.
Yeah.
It's also important to note that I think Elizabeth, and this is kind of what I thought when the movie like was coming out, when Elizabeth takes the substance, I think it's safe to say that she thinks that Sue will just kind of be another version of her, like in her same consciousness. And that's why she takes it in the first place, because she wants her old job back. And now that Sue is kind of her own entity.
Yeah, and it becomes quite clear that the more they switch, the more they kind of become separate people.
And again, now, like you said, Elizabeth is kind of left to be this like hermit at home because she can't get her old job back.
She can't, but that's the thing. It's she can still live
Exist
life
in
if
society.
she wants to, but she feels that she is unworthy of existing in society.
She feels like she's damaged goods.
Basically. So she kind of decides to hole up in her apartment on her 7 days and just kind of wait around until she switches to Sue and Sue can go live life. So Sue begins to delay the mandated body switching by extracting larger amounts of spinal fluid from Elizabeth. So basically taking 8 days when she should be taking 7 days worth of fluid. You're supposed to switch every 7 days, no exceptions.
No exception.
Elizabeth starts to resent Sue's frequent disregard of the switching schedule, while Sue becomes really disgusted by Elizabeth's descent into basically agoraphobia and constant binge eating. She decides to stockpile Elizabeth's spinal fluid and refuses to switch back.
It's also important to note that when Sue delays the switching, Elizabeth's body begins to rapidly age. So the first time it happens, she wakes up and her finger is like really old and has sunspots and is like decrepit. And the next time it's her leg. And then over time, it just becomes her face and her hair. And so Elizabeth, begins to resent Sue for disregarding the switch schedule.
And aging her.
Worse than she originally was.
And I mean, it's not subtle at all. It's a pretty clear metaphor for the choices that you make when you're young and that don't affect you in the moment do affect you later in life. Like the choice that Sue makes to, like she is a guy over and like she wants to keep hanging out with him and okay, like I'll take another day so I can keep hanging out with this guy. And it's like, and Elizabeth wakes up and her finger is completely like disgusting. It's a pretty evident parallel to real life, like you don't think that taking up smoking when you're like 18 will have effects on you, and later in life you find out that they do.
They very clearly say what has happened cannot be undone.
Yeah, when she wakes up one time and she's like half of her face is like aged. And she calls the substance people and is like, what can I do? How can I reverse it? And they're just like, nope, like what was taken on one end has been taken.
Which also like, is that not a great metaphor for like these botched plastic surgeries where it's like you do these procedures with the hopes of looking younger, looking better, looking more conventionally attractive, and then you overdo it or you use it in the wrong way. And of course, you've botched whatever beauty that you thought you didn't have
before.
Exactly. Yeah. So we cut to 3 months later, which is the day before the network's big New Year's Eve show that Sue is hosting.
And Sue has not switched back in those 3 months. Like she stockpiled the spinal fluid. She has remained Sue.
So once again, It's the day before the big New Year's Eve special. Sue finds that she is not able to extract any more fluid from Elizabeth's spine because she's used it all up in these 3 months. She contacts the supplier, who informs her that she has to switch back and let the spinal fluid regenerate in this like week span, which can't work because she has to host the New Year's Eve show tomorrow. Unable with any other choice, they switch back. And when they switch, Elizabeth wakes up to find that she has transformed into this like deformed hunchback old woman.
She's like almost monstrously old.
She has saggy boobs.
Her boobs are literally hanging down to
her knees are like so like wobbly, and oh my God.
She's completely hunched over.
She has no hair. It is and it's all practical.
It's all practical. It's amazing because even kind of through all of the practical effects, she's still recognizable as Demi Moore. Like, you can look into her eyes and be like, oh my God, it's you. But it's so well done. No, you could never tell. There is one moment where she's really old in this state and she's naked and she like falls over and you can kind of see that she doesn't really have a vagina.
Well, I mean,
just because it's like a
right, it's a suit, yeah.
It was just like, ooh, like you could have maybe thrown in a little shadow there,
right?
It's just for a second, but I've seen the film 8 times,
right?
So,
it's a you know blink and you'll miss it kind of thing,
yeah. Where it's you can just see that it's not there,
but still,
that's a very
she doesn't
small
have a
nitpick
vagina.
that is not. It wasn't even noticeable to me until like my
I never
6th
noticed
watched. So Elizabeth, now again, as we said, completely deformed, completely aged. She maybe looks like she's like 110 years old.
She's barely human.
Yeah. She decides to kill Sue, basically to
fuck her.
Yeah, like fuck her, and she decides to terminate the substance process, like this whole situation. She's
it's
like,
been
I'm
nothing
done
but
now.
awful for her.
And she begins injecting her with the termination serum. But as she's pushing down the plunger, she starts to have second thoughts. And in a really heartbreaking
so sad
moment of insight into Elizabeth, which we don't get a lot of, she starts to cry and saying, no, you're the only lovable thing about me now. Like, you're the only reason that I should even stay alive, like, is because of you. You're the only lovable thing. And that is just brutal. She decides to revive her instead, leading to both of them being awake at the same time.
which has never happened.
It's terrifying.
And their faces when they like first make eye contact is so good.
Sue spots the the half plunge.
It literally has like cross like skulls on it.
It says termination.
Yeah,
on it.
it's literally like kill Sue basically.
And she beats Elizabeth to death in a brutal scene, and also very poignantly by smashing her face into a mirror.
Oh, she fucks her up.
But it's like, I mean, yeah, the mirror is what started all of this. Like, your self-hatred and your resent of your aging body, like judging yourself in the mirror, is what started this whole thing. And then Sue, once Elizabeth is dead, Sue leaves to host the New Year's Eve show.
So without Elizabeth, Sue's body begins to deteriorate. She tries to create a new version of herself. Oh my God, this is so great. Using the leftover activator serum, which we have seen is supposed to be a single use.
It's this big ass red label that's like single use only.
Yeah, it's literally like throw away after single use. So, and keep in mind, Sue is not a human.
Yeah.
So, like, she's definitely not supposed to use it.
But she can't host the show. Her teeth are falling out. And
Yeah.
her ear fell off. Like, she's deteriorating.
Yeah, her body physically can't survive. So, taking the serum, Sue births a grotesque mutated body with both Elizabeth and Sue's faces. Wearing a mask cut from a poster of Elizabeth, Monstro Eliza Sue, whatever you want to call it.
Eliza Sue, I think.
I like to say Eliza Sue.
Oh, yeah, and we even get a title card.
Yes.
For Monster. We get a title card for Elizabeth at the beginning, and then Sue when she's born, and then we get one for Monstro Eliza Sue.
So the monster attempts to host the show. This is so great. She literally like staples a picture of Elizabeth on her face. But the audience, of course, freaks out when they see her. She's like this monster ripping out of this dress.
And when there are her shoulder has teeth. There's an eyeball on the back of her head.
She throws up a boob.
She has a third arm that's sticking out of her back.
She has this pile of intestines just kind of following her. It is vile.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
But it's so great.
And then poignantly in front of the whole studio audience, she throws up a boob. So kind of again, all of those lecherous shots of Sue's body and all the glamorizing all her butt and her boobs and her just beautiful skin and her beautiful lips and stuff, that's all really turned on its head with Monster Elizasu and made grotesque.
An audience member decapitates her only for another head to grow back, and one of her arms breaks and drenches the audience in the studio in blood.
It's reverse Carrie.
It's literally death metal screamo music plays, and everyone is screaming bloody murder.
This is where my mom was no. This is where she's I'm done, actually.
It's funny. A lot of people are I remember when this movie was coming out, everyone was oh my gosh, the ending of The Substance will fuck you up. And I was honestly, not really.
I remember being in the theater with you and just being yes.
I mean, I think the first
just
time I
loving
saw it,
how crazy it got.
This is where that absurd roller coaster ride comes in, because you're just what am I watching? But in no way was I this is too much for me.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it plays very fun. It doesn't play as this really dark, messed up thing.
No, you're really encouraged by the filmmaking to have fun with this. So Monster Elizasu, after again reverse carrying the entire studio audience, flees and collapses on the sidewalk, exploding into viscera. Elizabeth's original face detaches from the gore, and she's almost like a face starfish now.
Yeah.
And crawls onto her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and smiles up at the sky before melting into a puddle of blood.
The same Hollywood star that we saw in the very beginning of the film.
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of just to finish it off and morph into our discussion, the opening scene of this film is one of the most brilliant opening scenes of any film I've ever seen. I think I'm going on par with Goodfellas. I'm saying it's that level of good opening scene. We see it's an overhead shot on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We see people creating Elizabeth's star, presumably back in the day. Presumably
this
when
was
she was
in the
when
80s.
She was really famous. We see the star being created. We see then it cuts to, she's standing by the star and she's smiling and people are taking photos. And then we just hold on the star and time passes around it. And we see people stop caring about her and we see it crack. And then it cuts to Elizabeth in present day doing her Jane Fonda workout class. And it's just immediately we know everything about our protagonist that we need to know. We need to know that she used to be really famous, but her star is fading. And that's where we meet her. And it's shown without anyone explaining it to us. We see it happen through the progression of time on her star. It's brilliant. It's so good. Not a word is spoken.
I mean, I do love how the movie begins and both ends with Elizabeth's star. And I do love how at the very end of the movie, someone just comes by and cleans up the blood as if there's no, literally the mark that she's left has been washed away. And it's a very haunting, but final note. But also, I mean, the whole movie is just such a fun time.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah. I really love this movie. Every time I watch it, I kind of find something else to love about it.
Agreed.
It's one of those movies that you could watch once and never watch again, which you shouldn't. But if you did, you would enjoy it. But the more you watch it,
the more you notice.
Yes.
And the more you can get out of it.
Exactly.
I really want to talk about, even before we get into the plastic surgery of it all, just the production design.
Oh my gosh, well.
Which is some of the best production design I've maybe ever seen. And this is really a film that primarily it's a few location film.
Yeah, we're in her house,
we're in her apartment and we're in the movie studio and we're in very few other places.
If we are, it's maybe one or two scenes max.
And those they get so much mileage out of those spaces. You never feel like it's a 2-location film. It never feels like that. It actually it feels big and it feels expansive. So when they were designing Elizabeth's home, which is, again, where most of the film takes place, is in her apartment. The production designer said that the idea was to position Elizabeth at the top of society, almost like she's on a hill. And it's true. She has these big windows that look out over Hollywood.
Yeah.
And everything in her home is a reflection of years past. It's inspirations from the 1940s to the 1980s, but nothing present, which, again, kind of places it in this out-of-time world, but also shows that Elizabeth is kind of past her time. Like, everything about her and about how she lives is a little retro.
It's very dated.
Exactly. And then once Sue comes in, and she kind of takes over and stops letting Elizabeth live, she completely changes the apartment and makes it more modern and younger. And yeah, no, I just think that the design is brilliant. Even right outside her big windows, a big billboard of Sue's new workout show goes up, and it really creates this sense of Sue as this kind of omniscient, like, always present, like, little horrible blister on Elizabeth. Like, she can't get away from this idealized image, which then in turn makes her self-hatred worse. And it's so timely, just the way everything was done, about how Elizabeth can't get away from seeing Sue when Sue is born. Like, she's watching her from this giant billboard. She turns on the TV and Sue's there. She's goes
in
into her bathroom,
house, yeah,
and Sue's there just like looking beautiful and naked. And all it does is remind her of her own flaws. And I think that there's something really honest in that, especially with social media now. Like, there is always an ideal that you have yet to live up to. And it's not even all about looks. Like, it could be about anything. It could be career success. It could be lifestyle. Like, it truly anything. And you can't seem to get away from these depictions of how you could be, or how you should be, or someone who's doing life better than you, or who looks better than you. And just, I don't know, in past times, yeah, those people existed, but you didn't have to look at them every day.
Well, I mean, there's no better example of that than in the scene where Elizabeth decides to put herself out there, go on a date.
My favorite scene in the film.
So
it's the best scene.
It's the best scene in the film. So Elizabeth, earlier in the movie, meets up with an old friend from school, gets his number, and
he's like this nerdy guy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like she's doing it to be nice, just to get his number. So later, once the substance, she's taken the substance and Sue has really taken off, she decides to kind of make herself feel better, because now at this point she's become much more of a hermit. She's, realizing that this was not what she thought it would be. So she decides to go out to get a drink with this guy who clearly is very infatuated with her and kind of like strokes her ego a little bit, makes her feel good about herself. And of course, she does her makeup, she gets in a very nice dress, and she's about to leave. And of course, she sees Sue, and she just can't get it out of her mind how perfect Sue is and how imperfect she is in her own reflection. So like, she sees Sue's lips, which are very full and gorgeous and like naturally super beautiful. And then of course she looks at her own lips, and now she's like wiping off her lipstick, and then she's about to leave for the door, and then she sees that billboard, and it's like Sue is almost mocking her.
Yeah.
Like, it's her eyes are digging into her. And of course, I mean, how relatable is it that you just keep going back and you keep changing things about yourself, and then of course she doesn't end up going. And it's just, that scene is heartbreaking.
It's brutal. That scene, maybe not the first time I watched it, but I think it was the second time I saw it in theaters. I sobbed during that. I was like the only one in the theater crying too. And it was dead silent.
It's so sad.
Like fully sobbing. Just, I don't know, like I've been her.
No, same.
There were like times, especially in college, I don't really always know why, where I would just I would get dressed and then look at myself in the mirror and I just feel like such a fool. And I'd feel like I was putting lipstick on a pig or something.
Exactly. I mean, I have completely been there too. And again, like you're so right with like the age of social media. Like it's especially in an age where you can also alter yourself.
Yeah.
Not even seeing other people, but you can take your own image and alter it to be this better, more perfect version of you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's harder to look at your own reflection.
Yeah, no, 100%. But something about watching her not able to go.
Oh, when she reaches for the doorknob and she sees that like
her
distorted
reflection.
Oh my God. You're like, go, just leave. When I saw it with my mom, she literally was like, don't go back in that bathroom.
I know. It's so brutal to watch. And it just, I don't know, like I saw myself in her and I've made that choice. And watching someone else make it, you can see how
ridiculous it is,
how self-centered it is, and how it's like none of this matters. Like
right.
None of this matters. Like you're not living life because you're so ashamed of how you look, and you look great.
Right, you look fine.
Yeah. It's I don't know, that scene really, really touched me. I thought also the way it was done was so great. How she keeps seeing her and going back to change
no
her
words
makeup.
spoken, just it's all in her performance.
Brilliant moment of performance by Demi Moore. Like that should have probably won her the Oscar alone, but c'est la vie.
I like
Mikey Madison too. I wish it went to Demi Moore. Like
I would have preferred this got Best Picture over Nora than Demi Moore winning over Mikey Madison personally.
Fair enough. Okay. I really wanted her to win.
I did too. I would have been totally fine with her winning.
The storyline of her winning for The Substance
would have been a perfect bow on it.
And she lost to Sue. Like, are we gonna...
She did lose to the younger.
She lost to the young, sexy,
beautiful,
dark
up and coming.
Yeah. Yep. Which I'm very poignant.
Yes, very. Again, it's
life
of
imitating
Hollywood.
art.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, Coralie Fargeat has said that her intent with this film was to literalize the violence that we do to ourselves. And she talked about hearing about plastic surgery procedures and thinking, oh, how violent, like to do that to your body, to like shove plastic in your body. Like that, there is a real violence to that that's really glossed over when people talk about plastic surgery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that's what I think she wanted to call attention to, was the violence we do to ourselves. And this is also the only film where the plastic surgery was elective. Like where
right, it was her choice.
Elizabeth
she sought
chooses
it out.
to. Like the enemy, the villain in the film is her own self-hatred. Mm-hmm. It's what causes this whole thing, is just her inability to accept herself.
And again, she has such a warped sense of self that, like, you know, she was so much better off without the plastic surgery. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, is she out of a job, but by the end of it, she's dead and she's completely monstrous.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, that says so much about our society, and not only the violence that we put on ourselves, but like also, you know, how many people do you know that have gotten like some sort of procedure done and you're like, you really didn't need it, girl? Like,
yeah,
I can name quite a few
Same.
that I know. You know, again, I was talking to a friend and it gets to that point where it's like, well, at what point do you stop recognizing yourself? Mm-hmm. And at what point, you know, where, like you said, there's always going to be something you're not going to like about yourself. And I hate that today we live in a society where it's like, well, you can just get rid of that.
Yeah, there's something really dystopian about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought that we would get to this place in my lifetime. Even when I was like, you know, you remember when Kylie Jenner first got lip injections.
Oh, my God.
It was everywhere. It was like the biggest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And now like everyone gets lip injections. Now
young girls get lip injections.
Now like filler, Botox, it's almost kind of considered skincare or like self-care.
Oh my God, the amount of people
and it's like that's
who get like Botox at like, you know, before the age of like 28, and I'm like, Botox for what, bitch? Like,
right? I don't know. Yeah, it's really freaky when you can separate yourself from it. enough to see it omnisciently.
I mean, this isn't about plastic surgery, but it's the same thing where I work with a lot of kids and I also work in skincare, and you see a lot of young girls. I mean, there's almost something very substancy about these like 12-year-old girls being like, I need retinol. And it's like, you are going to burn your skin off. Like them putting like, Retin-A and all this stuff and anti-aging stuff on their like still very collagen filled skin, their baby skin. It's like, is that not Elizabeth taking the substance and just ruining her own face and body?
Literally. And then even the way that the audience reacts to Monstro Elizasu and starts screaming and attacking her.
I mean, they are like on a witch hunt.
How it has, again, it's so normalized now that this has changed, but how did the tabloids used to treat women who maybe got too much plastic surgery?
Still to this day. I mean, you can look up botched, like even Demi Moore. Her casting is very purposeful. She went through a period where people dogged on her because they were like, oh, she really fucked up her face.
But it's this funny thing, though, of like, as a woman, you are expected just by society to kind of always be in pursuit of beauty. I saw something a while ago that talked about like, maybe it was an article or something where a woman showed up to work freshly showered and her hair was wet. And
I do that all the time.
No, I mean,
all the time.
But it's like, okay, yeah, I'm showing up to work, so I'm clean and
right,
I'm dressed.
Right. And my hair is damp.
And like that was a problem with her employer, that like she didn't put herself together. And it's like, she's clean, she's dressed,
her hair will dry.
Like, do we have to beautify ourselves? Do we have to curl our hair and like put ourselves completely together to present ourselves to the world? I just, that's an expectation for women that is kind of exclusive to women.
Oh yeah.
But then for the people who get botched or the people who get a little too much work done, then it's like, no, you tried too hard. Because you're supposed to try.
Right.
But you're not supposed to make it obvious. It's supposed to seem effortless.
Right. It's supposed to be subtle. But not too subtle because we want to notice it. But we notice it too much. It reminds me of, this happened like a few months ago, but like when Love Island was coming out and that one girl was like 21 and everyone was just dogging on her. I mean, I felt awful for her. I was like, the poor girl. I mean, she probably got bullied into getting plastics. I don't know anything about this girl. Just a warning. But like,
no, but clearly she was insecure enough to get work done. And now she's just being made fun of ruthlessly.
Well, whatever her reasoning was for getting so much plastic surgery.
Clearly, you don't get plastic surgery from a place of security. You do it to
feel more confident.
To feel more confident, something that you are insecure about.
But for the whole internet to completely dog on this girl,
it's horrible.
And then to be like, it's like, guys, you're the ones who did it. I guarantee if she had her completely natural face, they would find some other fault with her.
No, 100%. Well, that's the thing. If she had her completely natural face, she probably wouldn't be on Love Island.
Or, I mean, it's like you said, like the substance is all about people's perception impacting you and your sense of self. And it's like, yeah, that's everybody today. But
yeah, I think the substance
is fucking
the substance
amazing.
Is of this time. And I think it's incredible. And I think it's the movie that a lot of young women would really benefit from seeing, I think
so too. I mean, it's nothing less than a 10 out of 10 in my mind.
Absolutely a 10 out of 10. Would give it an 11 if I could. I love this film. Like you said, it's everything I love about film. So yeah, that was our episode. I really enjoyed this week. I had a lot of fun. Loved it. Some horror.
Yeah.
Loved some weirdness.
Yeah, our movies were pretty similar in theme and in tone, but I thought they were all great. So.
And if you would like to join us again next week, we're going to be watching Christmas movies.
It's our holiday special.
We're going to be watching It's a Wonderful Life, of course.
Love.
Scrooged and Die Hard, which is debatable.
The most controversial Christmas movie.
I think it's a Christmas movie.
I don't know if I have a strong opinion on it yet. I guess we'll wait to see how we do in our Christmas episode. But
Sounds good. But yeah, please like and subscribe and feel free to watch those movies this week. And then we can all catch up next week and talk about them. I'm Olivia.
I'm Maggie.
Bye.
Bye.